Mr. Manafort just rested his case, and he did so because he and his legal team believe that the government has not met its burden of proof.
Welcome back. You just heard from the attorney for President Trump's former campaign chairman, whose trial is coming to a close. Paul Manafort spoke for the first time in court today, only to say that he would not take the stand. His defense team rested its case without calling any witnesses. Both sides will make their closing arguments tomorrow morning, and then the jury will get its instructions to decide Manafort's fate. I'm joined now by MSNBC legal analyst and former assistant U.S. attorney Daniel Goldman from outside the courthouse. Daniel, good to see you outside. Let's start with the defense not calling any witnesses today and then resting its case. Is that normal?
It happens more than you would think, and particularly in a case like this where the whole defense is from the beginning that it was the government's cooperating witness who did it and that the government doesn't have enough proof to show that the defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a significant standard. But remember, they're not calling their own case, which is really an affirmative case, but they are spending all of their time cross-examining the government's witnesses making their own case. And they did that quite effectively with the cooperating witness, Rick Gates.
And then what about the jury? Are there signs that there could be something wrong there?
Well, there's a lot of sealed proceedings going on. It started on Friday when there was an extended recess, and then the judge came back and gave a sort of extra emphasis to the jury not to speak to each other, not to watch TV or read the newspaper. And then yesterday morning, there was a sealed motion filed by the defense, and the government responded. And then yesterday afternoon, they had argument on it that carried over to this morning, when we were told that the judge was interviewing the jurors. And from my experience, based on high-profile trials like this, where there's a tremendous amount of media attention, it's quite possible that one or more jurors may have received information from outside the courtroom, which they're not allowed to see or consider. And the real issue is that they would have then told the other jurors. So we don't know exactly what's going on, but my suspicion is that that is a mistrial motion filed by the defense in order to, because of something related to the jury.
And what about the prosecution and them asking the judge to make it clear to the jury that his mid-trial comments are not as important as he made them out to be? What's going on with that?
So at the end of the day, the parties met with the judge and went over the instructions that the judge is going to give the jury. And the only issue that the prosecution had with the judge's proposed instructions was one relating to the judge's comments during trial. And you may remember, Katie, that there was a comment by the judge during Rick Gates' cross-examination, which really undermined the credibility of Gates, that the judge was asking himself, which is entirely inappropriate. And the government wanted the judge, in his jury instructions, to add a little extra emphasis to the notion that the judge's comments during the trial may not be considered by the jury. And there was an interesting colloquy back and forth between the judge and the prosecutor, who specifically referenced that question that the judge made of Rick Gates.
And what should we expect tomorrow?
Well, we're going to have fireworks. We're going to have the closing arguments, which is sort of what this is all boiled down to. And one thing to note is that because the judge has moved this trial so quickly, the government has really expedited its case. But they've admitted a lot of additional documents and evidence that they have not yet shown to the jury. We're going to finally see all of that wrapped up neatly into a presentation by the prosecution during their closing argument, where they are going to argue quite strenuously that the documents themselves, aided by the cooperator's testimony, show that Manafort's guilty. On the flip side, you're going to see Paul Manafort's lawyer saying that this is all about Rick Gates and that he is the mastermind behind all of this, and that that's why the government has not met its burden. So we'll have to see.
We will see. Daniel Goldman, thank you very much. Nice to see you outside.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.